When it comes to growing things, there are few places where water is put to better use than here in Oregon. More than 200 different commodities are grown here, a higher number than all but one other state. For a century and a half, Oregon farmers and ranchers have been finding ways to move water from where it's found to where it's needed. Historically, that has often meant putting a tractor in a stream bed and pushing up gravel to make a temporary dam during irrigation season. For years, this was a practical way for an irrigator to obtain his water right, even while realizing it was far from being the best way to do it.
With a push-up dam, we would have a rain in the upper valley, and within 2 days it would be washed out. And we'd sit here, we'd have to be back in the river 7-8 times a year, pushing the dam back up.
We would hire a cat or a backhoe and said we need water in the irrigation ditch, and he would go in and build up a gravel berm, which we've done for years, but knowing that it wasn't the best system. And then we would either have a berm that was too high and too much water or not enough water, and so it did create problems.
We're living in a time when more attention than ever is being focused on improving the health of Oregon's rivers and streams. Hi, I'm Gary Stewart. This focus is part of an effort to restore declining populations of salmon and steelhead. Those of you who divert water for irrigation play a vital role in this recovery effort. What I'm going to talk to you about today is alternatives to push-up berms. We are hoping these are alternatives you might want to consider. Each of these alternatives is more permanent and much friendlier to fish passage, and much more efficient in delivering water when and where you need it. In this program, we'll look at some of the alternatives and talk to water users who have switched away from push-up berms.
Just to be able to push a button to get water is a dream come true. That's the only way to put it, a dream come true.
The biggest advantage to this whole project is that I can manage my water. By that I mean I can get the proper amount of water on virtually any part of this project that I need. And this is basically going to allow me to probably double my production on this project.
Alternatives to gravel berms are also important to the overall health of streams. Maybe you're familiar with the Oregon Plan for Improvement of Salmon and Steelhead Habitat, an effort to respond to listings under the Endangered Species Act. Gravel berms can block the movement of fish upstream and downstream of the berms. Also, sediment generated by the removal or installation of gravel berms can disturb spawning and rearing areas. The Oregon Plan calls for solutions to be found at the local level and on a voluntary basis. The diversion alternatives we're suggesting are both voluntary and tailored to the individual needs of the irrigator. Careful study of each diversion site will determine the most appropriate alternative.
So it works really well. It's a win-win for everybody situation. We don't have to be in the river, and the fish get to go by when we're using the river, and the gravel bars aren't being pushed up anymore. So as far as we're concerned, everybody come out ahead on it.
Let's take a look at some types of diversions which might take the place of the gravel berms you've been using. With a simple pump system, an intake pipe extends down the bank into the river. A screen covering the opening keeps out debris and fish. Up the bank, the pipe connects to an electric pump, which distributes the water to where it's needed. This pump is on a platform that is movable to allow for changes in the river level. In this example, water is pumped into a pipe for distribution instead of an open irrigation ditch, reducing water loss from seepage and evaporation.
The system is much easier to operate, a lot less time consuming. I just come down here and turn it on at the electrical panel, and when the sprinklers come on, the maintenance is just non-existent compared to keeping that half mile of ditch open and clean.
An infiltration gallery is an intake pipe placed beneath the stream bed. Water enters through perforations which are covered with gravel. This helps prevent clogging of the intake system. From here, water flows into a collection system for distribution where it's needed. In this example, irrigation water is pumped from the river and delivered through a pipe system. But infiltration galleries can be adapted to gravity-fed irrigation diversions too. A bypass allows excess water to return to the river. This system works best in more shallow streams.
With the infiltration gallery, we have a constant supply of water, which we can start as soon as the irrigation season begins. All we need to do is start the electricity to the pump, open the valve, and we have irrigation.
This type of diversion is a concrete platform with stanchions or beams rising out of the top. These stanchions can be fitted with stop logs to adjust water flow as needed. This flexibility also allows for fish to pass through. Concrete diversion dams are permanent, controllable structures that provide consistent and accurate delivery of your water right.
And we're not eroding or sending a lot of debris and sediment down the river like we were before. So as far as the diversion, how it works is ideal.
There are benefits to all parties if multiple diversions are consolidated into one diversion with a single headgate. The irrigator benefits because overall maintenance costs are reduced, then split among the participants. Also, since water is more carefully measured and allocated, potential conflicts with neighboring water users are reduced. Consolidated diversions benefit the environment by allowing the stream to return to a more natural state.
In addition to helping me, it's going to take this blockage out of the stream, which will allow fish to pass beyond this point.
Temporary gravel berms have seldom been anyone's first choice for water diversion, but they have often been thought to be the only choice available that made economic sense.
Now opinion is beginning to shift for several reasons. Many irrigators have found that more permanent alternatives cost more initially, but they save money in the long run. Also, federal, state, and local agencies have cost-share programs, and irrigators are finding it's easy to work with others to find a better solution.
I think there is a fear on the part of the local ranchers to work with government agencies, but I also think that we're all trying to achieve the same goals. The local soil and water conservation district, as part of a team of federal, state, and local agencies, can bring a group together to solve almost any of these problems, come up with cost share to make it a little bit easier on pocketbooks to install these kind of projects, and generally address the water issues that are important to society right now and in the future.
I'm out at that switch box with a timer on it and everything, and a lot of times, you know, I can just push the button and get my sprinkler going and set the timer and go to bed and forget about it. And that's just absolutely incredible.
We're farmers. We have a PhD in producing food, but we don't have a PhD in hydrology or engineering or anything like that. And so we needed the expertise of all these different agencies for engineering and fish passage, et cetera, to help us get this thing to make it work. And it seems to be working.
Thanks for taking the time to discover alternatives to push-up dams. For more information, contact the following agency.